This is Larry Steinitz with Investor Schooling. You may know me from my book, Money Hacks. You may know me from my radio shows, and you may even know me from some of these commercials. But listen, I'm teaching stuff that people need to learn about money. In fact, my favorite topic is money. So go to investorschooling.com and you will learn things about money that you never even knew existed. We will teach you things about real estate, about the stock market, and about how to use your IRAs properly. Go to investorschooling.com and sign up for a complimentary class this Thursday night at 7 o'clock. That's investorschooling.com. This is Larry Steinitz with Investor Schooling. Are you tired of hearing about the recession that's coming? Are you prepared for it? Well, listen, at investorschooling.com, we're going to teach you ways to prepare for the recession that you didn't even know existed. We're going to teach you strategies on how to use real estate. We're going to teach you strategies how to use the stock market properly. That's right, you can even make money in the stock market when the stock market goes down. Hey, go to investorschooling.com and register for a free class this Thursday night, and you will learn all of these techniques. Go to investorschooling.com right now, RSVP for this Thursday. We'll see you there.
Join us Monday, January 20th, starting at 6 a.m. with Kale and Company at the Newtown Athletic Club for the inauguration of Donald J. Trump. Don Stensland will be there live from 10 a.m. to noon, and Dom Giordano from 12 to 3 p.m. The Newtown Athletic Club is one of the top lifestyle clubs and health and wellness centers globally. Visit newtownathletic.com. You can't be at the inauguration, but you can be with fellow Patriots. Monday, January 20th, starting at 6 a.m. at the Newtown Athletic Club. Live on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT and the free Odyssey app.
Hey guys, it's Jim Costa from Cash the Ticket. If you're planning on betting the NFL playoffs, buckle up. Betting football's hard enough as it is. We're doing the research for you. So listen to Cash the Ticket with Mike Valeni and I. We'll be dropping new episodes for every single playoff game. And that's going to be storylines leading into it, so some good football stuff, but also the betting nuggets you're looking for. Sides, totals, trends, player props, throw those in there too. Pre-game and post-game, we're going to be all over the postseason. Subscribe to Cash the Ticket on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3, Philadelphia. Always live on the free Odyssey app. Live and local from Philadelphia. The Don Stensland Show on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
The developing story of the morning is the effort to basically shut down or block that report from coming out with regard to special counsel Jack Smith, his report. So will it be released to the public? Two of President-elect Trump's former co-defendants in that classified documents case. Remember, they raided Mar-a-Lago. They raided the private residence of a former president at the time. Well, now these two former co-defendants in the classified docs case, their attorneys making moves in court to block the judge, asking a judge, I should say, the judge would then block special counsel Jack Smith's report from going public. So who are those individuals? We've heard their names in the past before. This is Walt Nauta and Carlos de Oliveira, the property manager there at Mar-a-Lago. And so they want this district judge, Eileen Cannon, to keep Smith's report, keep it private. That's the basics that's going on here. And this is the developing story. If it goes through, if it's released, we could see the release of this thing going public as soon as this Friday, the 20th. And so the argument here is that these defendants will suffer irreparable harm as civilian casualties of what the attorneys for Nauta and de Oliveira's attorneys, what they're claiming, that the government has essentially committed political warfare, right? The weaponization of government, and basically saying, hey, our clients will be the collateral damage of the persecution, the weaponization of government. They say the final report relies on materials to which Smith, as disqualified special counsel, is no longer entitled to access, making his attempt to share such materials with the public highly improper. So it sounds like they're making as tough an argument as they possibly can. They have filed this emergency motion asking the court for an immediate hearing to, quote, establish the impropriety of unchecked release, the scope of the resulting prejudice, and the specific materials contained in the report for which release is impermissible. impermissible. In other words, this is illegal. And this is still, basically, this is Merrick Garland's guy. So Jack Smith still, I mean, think about how nasty this is and how personal it has gotten. Is that basically these, and I just wonder if when they talk about the damages, is there the possibility then that if a Jack Smith goes through with this, that what they're alluding to in court is saying, hey, if you go ahead and release this and you've been excused, you're done, and you go ahead and release this, then you damage my client, then is there a possible civil suit personally against a Jack Smith? That's my question moving forward. So we'll move forward on.
How about a countering opinion from Adam Schiff? Yeah?
Shifty Schiff?
Shifty Schiff? Take a listen.
Action to the Trump lawyers trying to block this report.
Well, I suppose at one level it's not surprising that they should try. They have no shortage of chutzpah, of nerve. But for the Attorney General to grant it, I think would be indefensible. For the reasons that you mentioned, historically, these reports are made public. These reports and the investigation underlying them are funded with taxpayer dollars, and the public has a right to know.
Yeah, the public has a right to know. You know what we have a right to know? Remember when Shifty Schiff, remember he did that, hey, and he did that little performance at the beginning of the so-called J6 hearings. I mean, we were still, my gosh, that was Rich Zeoli back on Afternoons. That's how long ago that was when you think about it. But that was Shifty Schiff, who is a lot. I think, to me personally, my feeling is he has zero credibility. This guy is a schmuck. That's what I think about him. He's a schmuck. And for him to talk about anybody else is ridiculous. He is so slimy. And I think I just, when I see his face, I just think this is somebody who's a liar, and he has undermined the integrity of the process. Take a pick of your process. But as far as Trump's attorney, Todd Blanche, who, of course, he's poised now to take a senior role in the future Trump Department of Justice, right? But he's asking Garland not to release this report as well. And so Shifty Schiff going on these shows and bashing others, he should watch out for himself. We deserve transparency with regard to with everything that he ever did. I want all of his emails public. I want all of his phone records public. I want it all transparent. That's what I want with regard to with this Shifty dude. He aggravates me. He really does.
You want more? I kind of like how much.
No, I'm like my one of my dogs in the past, and she would just sit under the table. And, she was just like this little. Anyway, he just gets on my last nerve. That one, because he's just so.
I mean, deservedly so.
He's just so arrogant and pompous, and the fact that he has gone public, and the guy has no shame. That's another piece of this guy. No shame for this guy. Blech. Yuck. You just want to take a shower after you hear that audio with this guy, Dan. Dan Borowski, our great executive producer, knows how to trigger me. That's all I'll say about that. Triggered.
We can dig this hole deeper if you really want.
You want to dig it a little deeper? Go ahead before we get to the other audio.
It's astonishing to me as we sit here, Lawrence. The crime was committed 4 years ago.
Stop the hammering!
And in 4 years' time, the Justice Department could not bring that offense to trial, not as against the main perpetrator in Donald Trump. If the Attorney General were to decide to allow this report to be buried, the lack of justice would be followed with a lack of any kind of accountability by the.
I can't even take it anymore, Don. Yeah.
Remember that the schmuck Shifty Schiff. Remember him and that was a year ago. Wasn't at least a year ago? It was last year that he was censured. He's the Democrat from California, Representative Adam Schiff, and because remember he has made the Russia comments about Trump that proved to be a lie. I mean, this guy has so much nerve coming forward, talking about anybody else, talking about justice, talking about truth. This guy is the biggest liar. And so he was censured. He is just, I'm being a lady here. I'm being kind, but this guy is a nasty liar. And remember that he presided over that first impeachment trial over former President Trump. So this guy is so triggered now that Trump has triumphed and made the comeback. And he must be a little worried because the American people, we've seen that this guy is lower than low. I can't stand him. Because you know what? Here's the thing. And I always quote my late great Graham. Her name was Violet. And Graham would say that a liar is a thief and a thief is a liar. And so this guy, if you look him up in the dictionary, the definition of a liar, there's the picture of Representative Adam Schiff, Democrat from California. But in other words, somebody who lies, who will just go on live television and broadcast lies or proceed over an official proceeding in our house, in the people's house, and lie to your face, right? That guy's a thief. And so what has he stolen from you and me? You know what I'm saying? And there's something to say for that when somebody like this, when they just lie, there's a cost to it. And then you wonder, well, what else has he lied about? If he is just so brazen in his lies. That's my take on this scumbag. I'm using the strongest word. So. Am I allowed to say those words?
No, I hope so.
I hope so. Those are the nicest words I can think of to say. So do you want to you found this great audio, and we'll get to this thing that Dan has some little nuggets, some golden nuggets here. So one of them is, Dan wrote, did you know there's a gender that changes with the seasons? We'll get to that one. But the other one you found, because I had reported this morning, Dan, and that was, I had just given the headline that Zuckerberg, I had said that if Elon Musk's mascot is a dog, Doge, then Zuckerberg's would be copycat. Because it seems to me that as he goes to community notes, as a lighter way of trying to bring forth transparency. Mm-hmm. It's like a copycat a little bit.
Yep.
But you found some great audio.
I mean, it's seismic implications of the election, to be quite honest, because you have here a guy, Mark Zuckerberg, who assisted the Democrats in the last time with, funding, allegedly. That he's now out here essentially admitting defeat. He announced a new way of policing Facebook. He's essentially noted that the censorship is real on his platform, and it's too much. He said at one point even 1% is too much of censorship. But here, Dawn, is video of him laying forth what's going to happen now on Facebook moving forward. Take a watch. Here you go.
First, we're going to get rid of fact checkers and replace them with community notes similar to X, starting in the US. Mm-hmm. After Trump first got elected in 2016, the legacy media wrote nonstop about how misinformation was a threat to democracy. We tried in good faith to address those concerns without becoming the arbiters of truth. But the fact checkers have just been too politically biased and have destroyed more trust than they've created, especially in the US. So over the next couple of months, we're going to phase in a more comprehensive community notes system. Second, we're going to simplify our content policies and get rid of a bunch of restrictions on topics like immigration.
I mean, first off, that's pretty big, him admitting that the fact checkers there are, wrong, right?
I think so. The fact that he's ending the so-called fact-checking program, I loved that he acknowledged community notes similar to X. That he said that I would headline that. Because don't you think so, Dan? And don't you think so, 855-839-1210?
Well, is that essentially admitting that Elon Musk's way of doing things is the right way of doing things, even though there's been a lot of criticism of it to the point that, Blue Sky was created by this guy to counter that, was it not? And now he's, going back to what Elon's doing on X. It's I don't know. I feel like it's admitting defeat to a degree.
To me, it's so Mark Zuckerberg, here's my take on Zuckerberg. I think he's obviously a very bright guy, but when you look at his past, how did he come to fame? What's his claim to fame? So he's at Harvard, and he's this bright, nerdy guy who wants to meet women, right? To meet up, get hookups with chicks. That's how he started out, right? With Facebook, and then he allegedly, if you believe all the different points, he allegedly kind of stole the idea from the Olympian twins, right? Who tried suing him, whatever. So he's a guy who is a bright guy who is a follower. He's not a natural born leader. He's somebody who's a follower. And what that tells me about him is that, and remember what Trump said. Trump said that he begged to meet with him and sucked up to him. And that's, so I don't necessarily think he's a bad guy as far as that goes. I just think he kind of blows with the wind.
Yeah.
He's somebody who wants to be...
Well, to that point, though, him blowing with the wind, I mean, there's a lot of conversation that Facebook, Twitter is today's town hall, talking about freedom of speech. The private companies, should they, be able to protect themselves being private companies? Now we have a guy who was on the other end of the whole town hall debate, or town square debate, saying here that... essentially what I'm saying is I don't think this would have happened if Trump hadn't won, to be quite honest. I think we would have been censored continually for the next 4 years. Mark Zuckerberg would have had a reason to continue down the same path. And, I mean, these are the ripples from the election.
So think about what you're saying, though, that because of us, we the people, because of American patriots who believe in our great republic, the United States of America, and so we did the right thing. We, the people, not Trump. We voted for Trump, right? We pushed for him because we believe that he's the guy who's going to get the job done. But we did this. We, the people, the patriots, the citizens of this great country. We pushed the reset button. And so at this point, when you see my point about Zuckerberg, when he was back in Harvard and college, he was somebody who wanted to fit in. He wanted to meet the ladies and meet a pretty lady. Now he's married, he has kids, whatever. But he's somebody who didn't know how to socially fit in, basically. So now he wants to sit at the popular table with the popular kids. Who are the popular kids? Elon Musk, right? Vivek Ramaswamy, Donald J. Trump. And so now because he goes, oh, those guys, I want to be with them. And yeah, they're right. So in a strange way, it's your vote, the fact that you stood in line and you did the right thing for the country. And now because of that, you are helping to influence these individuals, powerful individuals, to do the right thing. So I'm looking at half glass full and saying we're moving in the right direction. Your thoughts? We have so much to get to today. There's a lot developing locally, statewide, regional news, and then, of course, Trump news, national news. 855-839-1210. Quick break. Stay right there.
PNC Private Bank knows that anything can happen on the gridiron, and being prepared goes a long way. It's not so different with your wealth. Whether you are looking to grow it over time, planning business succession, or integrate charitable giving, having a dedicated local team of specialized advisors who take a calculated, disciplined approach to managing your wealth leads to a lot of wins. The PNC Private Bank team knows that just like in football, that kind of preparation is good for your financial game. PNC Bank, brilliantly boring since 1865. PNC Bank National Association, member FDIC.
By registering for the next Crash Proof Retirement educational event, you'll see real statements from Crash Proof Retirement clients documenting how the exclusive Crash Proof Retirement system credits double-digit interest returns, even during the worst of recent stock market downturns.
Rob Lukens, Birdsboro, Pennsylvania. During COVID, when everything was going down in the stock market, we saw our investment with Crash Proof grow 15%, which was unheard of. Markets weren't growing that way. The interest we made through Crash Proof's investments, we keep it. We don't lose anything. We keep every penny that we invested. The worst that's going to happen is you keep your money. Crash Proof gives me great peace of mind. And I would recommend anybody who sees this or hears this to give Crash Proof a call. Pick the phone up, call. It's simple.
Schedule an appointment or register for our next event at the Copperfield Inn on January 22nd. 800-722-9728 or crashproofretirement.com.
When you need them, your local volunteer fire department routinely answers the call. Whether it be a fire, traffic accident, or a cat stuck in a tree, there is always someone there for you. However, because of declines in memberships, departments are becoming understaffed and struggling. Here's how you can help your neighbors and your community. No matter what skills you may possess, you can make a difference. Your local volunteer fire department desperately needs your help. Can you direct traffic? Install a smoke alarm, help at fundraisers? Your community needs you. You don't have to fight fire to be a volunteer. Will you make that difference? Will you answer the call? Brought to you by the National Volunteer Firefighter Recruitment Center. a program service of the Volunteer Firefighter Alliance. For more information on how you can help and make a difference, visit www.nvfrc.org. That's www.nvfrc.org.
In Africa, 5-year-old Chiru has no choice. She and millions like her must walk miles every day for dirty water. But together, we can end their walk by providing clean water close by. Instead of spending hours walking to get water that makes them sick, girls can be in a classroom that expands their minds, and moms will gain back time to care for their families. Sons and daughters can grow up strong, finally free of sicknesses caused by dirty water. At World Vision, care about clean water runs deep. Deep enough to reach one new person with clean water every 10 seconds. Because every child, every person, everywhere deserves clean water and the chance to rise to their full potential. It's true. When you just add water, you change a life. Learn more at worldvision.org.
Kale and Company, weekday mornings, 6 till 10.
If you want to take a bird flu shot that becomes available, knock yourself out. One thing you have to do, in my opinion, after that pandemic is learn. From every mistake, every error, whether it was that pseudoscience made-up social distancing that they made up on the fly of 6 feet, the masks that don't work, the vaccine that is not 100% safe and effective. I never want to have to deal with that again in my life. We need to be paying attention to China. Much like the FBI, you can't trust them as far as you can throw. And I'm talking about that government over there, not specifically just Chinese people.
Start your day with Kale and Company, weekday mornings 6 till 10 on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and the free Odyssey app. Be sure to follow Talk Radio 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
Come on, baby. It's Tuesday, January 7th. I'm just fired up today. When we were going through earlier on Kale and Company, and we were talking about also just down memory lane during the former Kennedy administration, and all the police officers injured in that horrible summer of, it was really forever, but felt like forever, from May through almost November of 2020, all those officers injured and the arrests, and then the people who were just let go. I'm fired up. And then we started out with the breaking news talking about Adam Schiff. Your thoughts, 855-839-1210. I guess Mary, quite contrary, has some, I don't know, Wikipedia. She's our free encyclopedia definition diva, if you will. Hey, Mary.
Hey, Dawn. That's so funny. Actually, it's not from Wikipedia, but what I want to say, first of all, is I absolutely agree with your assessment of Adam Schiff's personality, and I don't know, he's a liar, and he's a jerk. But that being said, and the word schmuck actually refers to people that are jerks. But the Yiddish definition refers to an exclusively male body part.
Thank you for censoring yourself there.
Yes.
I just wanted to let you know what it means.
Yeah.
And it's only because my husband's Jewish that I know this.
Yes. So it would be a body part that perhaps would be circumcised?
Removed?
Removed?
Correct.
Yes.
Right?
Well, the body part's not removed, but
it's
the
fourth. Well, that's technically. I'll tell you what. Yeah, Yiddish is like the greatest. It gives us the words like verklempt and schmuck, or the opposite of that would be a mensch. But which, I do love. I love the language. It's the best ever because it's just these words. They just ooze with expression. And that's when I think of Shifty Shift, I think of that word. Ugh.
Oh, I'd love to see him behind bars, but I don't know if that's ever going to happen.
Or just exposed, right, Mary? I hope, I would love for everything about him, every nasty email, every manipulation. When you think about Russia, well, what did he know and when did he know it, that it was a lie, that he was really perpetrating?
Yeah, Don, most of us have been exposed, or he's been exposed to us, but I don't think the Democrats are ever going to really invest in that.
Yeah, it's a sin. And yet they look at what on the other side, how they just persecute Republicans or conservatives. It's so true.
Yeah.
Mary, you made my day. Thanks for calling.
You made mine. All right, take care.
Thanks. You take care, too. And speaking of which, you know what we haven't gotten into for whatever reason is I was reading more about Rudy Giuliani, and it's what's happening to him is a sin. This whole case where they have the civil judgment against him for like almost, $150 million. And now just yesterday, this judge in Manhattan.
You all know I stand by the truth.
Sorry. Just
Yeah.
Rudy in there.
So whatever you think with Rudy Giuliani, it's just way over the top. They'll be like, for me, do I have any shot of ever making or being worth $150 million? And so no matter what somebody could possibly say about me, how can a jury or a judge or a grand jury, whatever, say that somebody should be awarded that kind of money, $150 million? Like all of these judgments against conservatives, way over the top, they're ridiculous. And so to just persecute this guy continually, I just and it's not really getting the coverage. That's surprising. We have to get into that as well, Dan. Now I'm really on it. You got me all fired up today. It's a Tuesday. I don't know if Dan and I and all of us are post-COVID. I don't know what the heck this lingering. Can you hear it in my voice?
Yeah,
where
it's miserable.
And because I'm the caretaker in the family, I was never able to, even over the break. Everybody's like, "How was your vacation?" It was not a vacation. Everybody in my, Michael went to 3 different hospitals. I don't talk about it, but it was like my family became so sick.
Michael went to 3 different hospitals.
Yeah,
Oh
over
gosh,
the period. Yeah, this poor kid.
Wow.
And so, everybody was, brutally sick. So I never got it to that extent.
Well, like
because,
coughing sick, or was there?
Oh no, they were violently vomiting. They were,
oh my god,
like in bed. They were.
What
it was
a terrible
horrible.
vacation.
I know. So like it was. I don't know if you guys have experienced this. They say that we had norovirus. That they've said that some of my, like Larry and David and Michael, all had norovirus. Somehow, even though I was like cleaning up the vomit, I never got it.
Really?
Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
But I swear
Maybe
by
you're just a Superwoman. You're Wonder Woman.
Well, here's the thing. I swear by the healthy gut. Added like so. What I did, I'll be honest. There were days where if I felt something coming on, I did a fast.
Really?
Mm-hmm. And just drank lemon water, and I took a ton of because I'm into me organic. Did all of the echinacea and the zinc and the vitamin C. I was pumping vitamins, and I never got any of the. I do have the like mild congestion, whatever. Never had a fever, nothing.
We've been together what now, 7 years, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember a time you've been sick, to be quite honest.
I've had this stuff where
but I'm talking like you not being here,
But very rarely do I call in sick or get. It's very rare, and usually it's because I'm just worn down from caring for somebody. But I'm a big believer in just making the bone broth or going on a fast, and if you really believe in that, I don't know. I would love to hear how do you avoid getting these sicknesses? Greg Stocker right now, he has COVID. It's pretty bad.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if he got the Paxlovid, which you can get if you can get a COVID test and get the Paxlovid within the first 5 days. Apparently, it greatly mitigates it. But then Larry got sick as a dog. He has he always gets the boosters. He gets the flu shot. I don't get any of that. I just go to my natural remedies.
And you're still feeling
knock
fine?
wood. I feel fine. I just don't sound, my best.
Yeah.
But I'm a
weird.
believer in this.
So your whole, idea of health and
Mm-hmm.
gut health, have you developed any further opinions on the whole drinking red wine thing?
Ever since that study, and Dan's working on a doctor to talk about this. But when that study came out, I want to hear from you, 855-839-1210. When this study came out, I know it came out over the holidays, although technically The first one came out, I think, last fall, like late fall. But then all the studies have come out. I just said, you know what? If drinking, an occasional glass of wine or beer, whatever, if that is a risk, puts me at any risk, even if it's a 1% risk, like, meh, I'll just eat red grapes. I'm not going to take the risk. I'm done. I'm serious. I'm one of those people like, meh, I'm done. Last night.
Nice little buzz, though, before
Nope.
you head to bed? No?
Nope.
No?
So I haven't had
The
wine.
warmth of wine?
No.
No?
It's been almost, well, no, I didn't even, I'm trying to think, Families Back the Badge. No, I didn't even drink the night of, that we all had the great, like in Old City, we went for the Families Behind the Badge for that charity event with our friends, with FOP and so on, and Pennsylvania State Police. No, I haven't like had a glass of wine, nothing for like a month. And I don't miss it. But if it's a leading, they say now it's a leading cause of cancer, even if you're a mild, like every once in a while, glass of wine or a alcoholic beverage, a margarita, whatever that looks like, a beer. Why would you even take the chance?
Yeah.
It's just stupid.
I'm still taking the chance. Well, white wine's safe, right?
No.
No?
No, they're saying anything.
Oh, no.
But apparently it's even worse for women. I guess it's better for men. If I look at the study, I was looking at it last night. So for women, and breast cancer especially is a big one. So I'm just like, meh, why would I take the chance? I'm done.
Yeah, I'm working on a
Done with
doctor
that.
who testified in front of Senate about COVID. He was one of the guys that was a forefront leader in discussing the lab leak theory on coronavirus and spoke during the investigations about 6 months ago. He's been pretty active in my email online discussing and talking about how he fully buys into, what they're saying here. He's a conservative guy, and essentially he's a guy that works very closely with breast cancer prevention. And he'll be coming on the show at some point, not today, but probably tomorrow or at some point, discussing how, if this causes breast cancer and he's a doctor who sees the evidence, then he is fully in support of this decision. It's not a political decision, it's a health decision. So we'll hear more about it from him.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah.
And also that NIH study that nobody's talking about, really. I mean, we talked about a little bit about, Nick brought it up yesterday, and I don't know if you guys talked about it last week, but that NIH study that says more research needs to be done on the, especially mRNA vaccine for COVID, which that's what Lair Bear and I had, that there's a link between that and Alzheimer's, and they want to study more on that. I'm thinking, OMG, why didn't we hear more on that one? And so that's, I don't know, all these medical studies. I want to learn more and I want to know more. And then my question is, if you were in a region like Pennsylvania, let's say, or New Jersey, where you were being told by your government, or let's say you're a government employee or a cop or a firefighter, sanitation worker, and you were told you're going to lose your job unless you get the jab, then do you have causation here? Do you know what I'm saying? Should the government pay people who were forced to get a vaccine that puts them at risk for fill in the blank? I don't have the answers. I'm simply saying we need to research this more and know more about it. But the fact, that's one more reason when it's something that's only emergency approval, you should never force it on people. Let people choose, but not have a mandate for something like a vaccine. It's not even a true vaccine.
Ken in Percy has a countering opinion to you, Dawn, if you want to take him.
Hey, Ken.
Hey, Dawn, love the show. How you guys doing?
Good, thank you.
Hey, just real quick, I'm Eastern European, okay?
Mm-hmm.
My parents been drinking pretty much all your lives. You know what? No one died of cancer in the family. And they lived well into their 90s. You go over to Europe, I mean, they're drinking, morning, noon, and night.
Yep.
I think there's more here in the water with the way, listen, we don't recycle the right way, our garbage, just everything. It's all done wrong. So who knows really what's getting into our soil, our waters, and things of that sort. And on top of that, Jesus turned water into wine.
So there's an endorsement. I love it. Thanks, Ken. No, and that's basically what my husband said last night. He said, with dinner, he had a glass of wine. He's like, oh, good, more for me. Because he likes to have a glass of wine just with dinner, just one. But I would say this to Ken, and Ken brings up an interesting point. When you think about European countries or Italy, basically any place but the USA, how do they process their wine? And then how are those grapes grown, as opposed to like a California wine, but rather, where they're grown here. And then if the soil, if it's not, I don't know, if you're not rotating your crop or whatever, is that part of it? Is it the preservative? What is it? Because it's true. You go to Europe and everybody is, what are they doing? They're smoking and they're drinking. And they're not obese. They don't have the obesity issue we have. And they seem to be healthy, even those so-called blue zones. And they're smoking and drinking. What is up with that?
Manglemush says, bull crap, people have been drinking alcohol since, I don't know, the dawn of man, with dawn in all caps.
I love it. So you could just, to me, I don't know. I just thought, well, and it's expensive and it's high in calories. So maybe it's my excuse to just, I don't know, be healthier. Vanity. You can let me know. 855-839-1210. We'll get back to news. There's a lot of news, regionally, nationally, locally, Trump news. We'll get to all of it. Don't you worry. My friends at Piazza Premium Automobiles, featuring the latest luxury vehicles from today's top brands. I'm talking about Mercedes-Benz, Jaguar, Land Rover, BMW, Porsche, Alfa Romeo, Maserati, and more. These models have such sleek new designs, innovative features, powered by the very latest in technology. And Piazza has thousands and thousands of these new and certified pre-owned vehicles. They're available right now across their Pennsylvania, Delaware, and New Jersey dealerships. Piazza Premium Automobiles stands out. Visit them, piazzapremiumautos.com, Piazza premiumautos.com. Tell them Dawn sent you.
D&K Appliances is a family-owned and operated business for 3 generations located in Newtown Square and Flourtown. D&K Appliances offers one-stop shopping, providing delivery, installation, and service of top brands like GE, Thermador, Wolf, Bosch, Speed Queen, KitchenAid, and Whirlpool for your kitchen or laundry. D&K Appliance sales associates are industry experts, supporting customers every step of the way. Visit D&K Appliances, the dependable difference. Newtown Square and Flourtown showrooms, or visit dkappliances.com.
The good and bad with home improvement projects. The good, you save $1 or $2. The bad.
Kevin, there's no hot water.
So you move on to the car.
Kevin, what's with the car?
Good news, you can recover from these.
Kevin!
Well, most all of them. But when it comes to your retirement, a mistake can be devastating.
Call Joe Yakovich at JML Financial Group. He's been helping folks prepare for retirement for over 30 years. That's why he's able to correct your do-it-yourself problems before they're problems.
Get your complimentary assessment of where you are now and look at some of the retirement boxes you haven't even thought of.
Kevin!
You can't YouTube your retirement. Call Joe Yakovich at 856-925-6674 or visit jmlfinancialgroup.com. Securities and investment advisory services offered through Brokers International Financial Services, LLC, member SIPC. Brokers International Financial Services, LLC is not an affiliated company.
Attention Medicaid patients.
If you're on Medicaid, how would you like if your caretaker was your daughter, your son, your grandchild, or your close friend? If you're on Medicaid, Freedom Care allows you to choose who provides your care, and that caregiver will get paid instantly after their shift. Yes, your caregiver will get paid instantly, and it's 100% free to you if you are on Medicaid. Call 267-692-3782 and ask Freedom Care how to get started with care today. No more worrying about getting care from an aide at an agency. Freedom Care helps you choose who you want to take care of you, and that person gets paid. Call Freedom Care at 267-692-3782, 267-692-3782 to get started today. You get a caregiver you know and trust, and they get paid instantly after their shift, and it's free to you. Start now by calling 267-692-3782, 267-692-3782, or go to freedomcare.com.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-511-3535. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-511-3535. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-511-3535. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-511-3535. 800-511-3535 or biglou.com.
Hey, Ambler. We know your favorite station is Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Follow us anywhere on the free Odyssey app.
So the latest last night was that a federal judge in New York found former Trump attorney Rudy Giuliani, once hailed as America's mayor, credited with cleaning up New York City, but now he was held in contempt of court because the judge says he's not complying with orders to turn over information about his assets to two women in Georgia, former Georgia election workers, that he has defamed according to the courts. And so this judge yesterday, late afternoon, said that Giuliani testified over 2 days to answer the questions about failing to hand over his assets and court-ordered discovery information. And this is a $146 million defamation judgment against him. And so he's the former New York mayor, former U.S. attorney, and the judge says, quote, that he willfully violated an unambiguous order of the court by failing to provide information when he was supposed to. And so one of them was he blamed the fact that I guess some of his stuff was still in the name of one of his ex-wives, apparently, the Mercedes that Lauren Bacall used to own. It's like a 1980 Mercedes, whatever. So apparently the ex-wife's name was still on a bunch of stuff. So that was part of the claim. The judge is not buying it and now saying they could take his Florida condo, which he claims is his residence. It just, to me, what I was saying earlier, it seems over the top. The whole thing seems over the top. So that was just a comment that I made. But this federal judge is not playing. You know, when you're under a court order, whatever that looks like, you don't want to play around because. And by the way, a lot of people online, if you were one of the people who said, "Oh, he can be pardoned by President Trump," no, he cannot, because the pardon in this case, these are civil. This was a civil judgment, so that's not what this. You know, this is not a federal criminal conviction. This is a civil case, so Trump has no jurisdiction over it. Okay, so Rudy Giuliani is fighting this on his own, if you will, and there are a lot of reaction last night, overnight. So to that, I'm going to start with this is Big John in the Huntington Valley, I believe. Hey, Big John, Happy New Year.
Dawn, happy and healthy New Year to you and Larry and all the family.
Thank you. You too.
I got to be honest with you. The poor little Rudy Giuliani, what he did and continued to do to Shay Freeman, her daughter, and her entire family, they had death threats, rape threats, dismemberment threats, and had to move.
Which is horrible.
He didn't just stop. He kept doing it. No, and he kept doing it. Do you understand the lowlife that he is? I'm sorry, whatever comes his way, he has earned. And I don't know why you're doing the poor Rudy thing. Come on.
And here's the thing. And to your point about the mom and daughter, and that's a point. And you guys have heard me over the years with, even though we're on talk radio, when there's a case about something. And I will advise, because being from a news background, it's one thing to talk about a case in generalities, right? But to call out an individual by name who's a private citizen, no matter who they are, you then put yourself in jeopardy. Even let's say a talk show host, you have to be very careful and responsible, because you have to realize,
very well put.
right?
Yes,
because
absolutely.
if you're a public person, I mean, to your point, if you're a public person, in this case, the reason that Rudy Giuliani, there was this settlement put against him was that he knew that he had a big microphone, a big spotlight as a public person, as a famous person. But apparently what he did was he named private citizens by name election workers. And so that was how, at the end of the day, it's a lesson to all of us. When you call out somebody who's a private citizen...
Over and over again. He did it even after the civil verdict was in. He kept doing it. Mm-hmm. And I guess the point is, you've got, the MAGA people, the less educated are very triggered. As Trump said in his 2015 interview, if he was ever to run for president, run as a Republican because he loves the uneducated. He got his wish, and that's who's going after this stuff. Violence, violence, violence.
Well, I mean, first of all, I would say that, I wouldn't attribute that kind of thing to, we can say in general, the power of social media in general is a problem as people get triggered by that on all sides. I don't think it's owned by any particular political bent. I would say it's the low-hanging fruit in society. Any kind of violence, any threat. Again, we saw it during the election season. I mean, we saw we were on the phone with Linda Kearns at the time, and there were election workers. This time around, they happened to be Republican election workers who were threatened. There was one lady who was stalked, and they did arrest a guy. Whenever that happens, I think one common ground we can all agree upon, that violence or threat of violence against anybody, it doesn't matter. Their politics doesn't matter to me. That's wrong. You cannot go around threatening people. And not that Rudy threatened them, but the point was that he was felt to have named them, calling this out, and that it was felt that, to your point, and this is part of the court record, that is true, that even after a judgment against him, he continued on and on and on. And he's an attorney.
And yet, in the get-together on New Year's at Mar-a-Lago, he's honored by Trump. So, I don't know. I guess if you forget it, I guess if you're lawless, the Republican Party has a big tent for you.
No, I mean, that's, John, I mean, here's the thing. You said a lot that I would agree with. I think we can agree on a whole lot, and that is that violence or the threat of violence or encouragement of any violence, it's all wrong. It's bad. I think all of us can agree on that. But on the other hand, Rudy Giuliani is somebody in his life. I mean, I'll be honest, and we played the audio back even when he went to court. Where was that, Dan? Remember? He was it was one of his court appearances, and he just, I mean, he's now an elderly person, and some people have said he was drunk. I don't think he was, quote unquote, intoxicated with alcohol. I think that he's having some mental acuity issues. And so in my humble opinion, that's what's going on here. I think to me personally, I think there's a mental acuity issue with him that's happening, and would the Giuliani of the past, and I've met him before. I met him, where I met him? At Jody Applegate's wedding. He officiated. I mean, he was somebody who was, so charming, a smart, quick guy, but he's a lawyer. And so the fact that even after a judgment against him, and he still went outside the court and said the things he did, he should have known better. I would say he's slipping, and that's sad to me, and that's why, to me personally, it's an over the top judgment to say that somebody would deserve nearly $150 million judgment. I mean, why not make it $1 billion then? Why not make it $3 billion? So to me, it's over the top. That's my whole point is with all of this, it becomes a situation where if they had a judgment that was hundreds of thousands of dollars, I think I could say, you know what? We all have to be careful in our speech. And so in this litigious society, but when it goes way over the top, I'm simply saying for somebody who's now, and that's why he's going to fight this, and he'll probably win the battle of saying, you can't take somebody's primary residence away from them, because that's what the court is saying. This is an elderly person that they're going to take away his home. If it were anybody other than a Republican or Giuliani, would that happen? No, that wouldn't. And so I don't wish that on any person, regardless of their politics. Do I, even Shifty Shift, who I was talking about, do I wish that he and his family lose their home and become homeless? No, I don't. I wouldn't wish that upon anybody. A punishment should be that. It should be something where somebody is punished properly, or if there are damages that somebody can, if they were damaged and a court found that, but it should be reasonable. And this is beyond reason. That was my whole point. Darn it. I wanted to get to all the wine stuff because our switchboard is all lit up right now. So we'll get to the wine. We'll get back to wine. Okay. 855-839-1210. Be right back.
My doctor told me my cholesterol is borderline. So I took control with Garlic Healthy Cholesterol Formula. Garlic helps maintain healthy cholesterol safely and naturally. It's odor and taste-free, and Garlic is a world leader in garlic potency. I'm taking charge of my cholesterol with Garlic Healthy Cholesterol Formula, cholesterol's natural enemy.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. The term natural references only the garlic in the product. Use as directed.
If Ernest Hemingway was alive today, would he say this to you?
Shakespeare, Mark Twain, Edgar Allan Poe, all great writers. And after reading your book, I simply must add you to the list.
Wait, you don't have a book yet. So make a free call to Page Publishing. Turn your book idea into publishing gold.
800-215-6818. 800-215-6818. That's 800-215-6818.
By registering for the next Crash Proof Retirement educational event, you'll see real statements from Crash Proof Retirement clients documenting how the exclusive Crash Proof Retirement system credits double-digit interest returns, even during the worst of recent stock market downturns.
Rob Lukens, Birdsboro, Pennsylvania. During COVID, when everything was going down in the stock market, we saw our investment with Crash Proof grow 15%, which was unheard of. Markets weren't growing that way. The interest we made through Crash Proof's investments, we keep it. We don't lose anything. We keep every penny that we invested. The worst that's going to happen is you keep your money. Crash Proof gives me great peace of mind. And I would recommend anybody who sees this or hears this to give Crash Proof a call. Pick the phone up, call. It's simple.
Schedule an appointment or register for our next event at the Copperfield Inn on January 22nd. 800-722-9728 or crashproofretirement.com.
Big news, Cherry Hill. The Hester Chevrolet family is expanding with our new location, Hester Chevy of Cherry Hill, formerly Mall Chevrolet. For over 40 years, the Hester Automotive family has been part of the Cherry Hill community. With over 600 vehicles available, Hester Chevy of Cherry Hill now offers one of the largest inventories of Chevy vehicles in the tri-state area. See why 2 Hester Chevy locations are even better than 1. Come visit Hester Chevy at the mall or always online at HesterChevyCH.com.
Your way or no way at Hester Chevrolet.
Now is the perfect time to start on your next success. When you apply to University of Maryland Global Campus by February 12th, you'll pay no application fee. An accredited state university, UMGC offers online and hybrid courses. Plus, you can earn up to 90 credits toward a bachelor's for prior learning and work experience, or transfer up to 12 credits toward a master's. Get your application fee waived through February 12th. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chef.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. An important message about your timeshare from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. Contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance, and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about timeshare cancellation.
Call 800-408-4040. That's 800-408-4040.
Keeping free speech alive. Odyssey's #1 talk station. Talk Radio 1210. WPHT. WPHT.
A bottle of white, a bottle of red, perhaps a bottle of rosé instead.
Yes, so ever since this study, we've been talking about this, the study that says that any amount of alcohol, apparently, that they want to label even wine, beer, any liquor, any alcohol of any kind, they want to label it as a leading cause of cancer. And it's especially allegedly bad for women and breast cancer, putting women, even though men can get breast cancer too, especially if they have that family risk. 855-839-1210. So I know many of you wanted to talk about this wine. This is not like whining, like WH, that kind of wine. We're talking about the wine like red wine. We're talking about Pinot Noir and so on. Who do you want to get to first? You told me and now I forgot. You told me
we
the
have
order.
Jean and Shelf on.
Hey, Jean.
Hey, Dawn. Thank you. Actually, I'm wondering. I'm a seldom, rare, occasional drinker, so I don't have a dog in the fight.
Yeah.
But I did notice years ago when I would have an occasional white wine, I got a terrible headache, and I found out later that they had formaldehyde in the wine. And so I think there's a question of what the wine does, which when you study the blood chemistry of wine and the alcohol and what it does to your cells, that's sobering of itself. But the additives that we may be using in this country may be the culprit more so than the wine itself.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm starting to wonder too. And I'm kind of like you. I'm like, meh, I'll wait till I'm in Italy, or as our friend Frank says, Italy. And to your point, when we were in Italy last year, the amazing thing was, we had wine with, sometimes we have wine with lunch and dinner, like a glass.
And the table wine, it's like water.
Yes. Yeah. And it didn't have the effect on people like you're talking about, where people sometimes, because of the sulfates or whatever, some people, you have an allergic reaction, your face turns red, you get that headache. And so that's what I'm wondering. American, once again, whatever the processing is, very different from European.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm wondering too.
That's one of the things that excites me about RFK, because I was, I'm a Republican. But he will challenge so many assumptions and make us take a look at our food processing and what we're adding that most of us just don't even think about and aren't aware of.
Yeah. So now the latest, I appreciate your call. Thank you so much. And these are great questions. Thanks, Jean.
Thanks, Dawn. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And we have Frank. Hey, Frank.
Hi, Dawn. I got to tell you, you really, you are so terrific with people, because I was getting angry listening to the last guy, but you are really, really just a nice person.
Thanks.
And I guess that's all I can tell you. The only thing with these like medical truisms, they just change so many times.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know if you remember with the food pyramid, grains were at the top. And then all of a sudden we found out that, no, carbs are not that good for you.
Yeah.
And, as far as sugar diabetes and as far as fat goes, you got to have a meatless diet. And as it turns out, that's not true either. We need protein. And eggs are a heart attack on a plate. And it turns out now they got a new study that says, no, eggs are actually very good for you. So I just don't know that, like, if some isolated study comes out and then all of a sudden I'm going to change my lifestyle. I like to have a beer when I'm watching a game. It's not going to change because I get one study. And I just, what's the recent one? That the mRNA vaccine is perfectly safe, and we found out that it wasn't. So it's like, it's hard to tell what you actually, what to believe. That's all.
You make great points. What I read, if I'm reading in between the lines, I will say that a lot of the studies, I don't think they're talking about something that's occasional. I think that we learned during the pandemic that more people were drinking more, right? And so at this point, I think a piece of this, as we read between the lines, that even though people may say to their doctor, I only have an occasional glass of, fill in the blank. What I'm reading in between the lines is that people are drinking more daily. Like maybe it used to be 1 and now it's 1 to 3. And that's one of the things that I'm getting a sense of, that they want to talk about moderation, because that's the old, to your point about all these studies, common sense tells us that anything in moderation is not going to kill you. But I don't think this is a moderation situation. I'm just looking, reading between the lines. Thank you so much for the call. Really appreciate you. Thank you. Sorry to those of you. We kind of went over there, and we'll take a quick break. We have a great guest ahead. But I will tell you, when I look these studies up, as they talk about pancreatic cancers, they talk about breast cancer, they talk about all these different throat cancers, I believe that these studies are 1 to 3 drinks a day. It's a daily thing. And so that's, a piece of this. If it's a Friday night, I don't know. We'll get the doctor on. Dan's working on it. We'll get to the bottom of that study. We'll take a quick break. Thank you for being here today. Dawn Show at Dawn Stensland on X. Be right back.
Start the year with quality high-end furniture and save. The holiday sale at Bucks County Estate Traders is extended. Enjoy shopping well-crafted, stunning pieces that will elevate any room in your home. Save thousands of dollars on items from top manufacturers, all available for pickup right now. Each of the over 16,000 pieces includes its own QR code that puts its information at your fingertips. And their team of knowledgeable professionals provides a relaxed and rewarding experience. Hurry in and save. Visit BucksCountyEstateTraders.com or their showroom in Hatfield.
Are you worried about the state of the economy? Concerned about market crashes and rising inflation wiping out your savings? At Noble Gold Investments, we understand your fears and have a solution. Call us today at 1-888-403-1050. Imagine safeguarding you and your family with a tangible asset that has stood the test of time. Gold. With Noble Gold Investments, you can diversify your portfolio and protect your wealth from economic turmoil. Our team will guide you through the process, ensuring you make informed decisions that best suit your needs. Call Noble Gold Investments today at 1-888-403-1050. That's 1-888-403-1050. The future is uncertain. Take control now. Call 1-888-403-1050.
Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals, including gold, involves risks. Consult with your tax attorney or financial professional before making an investment decision.
Trust Will knows that we'll all eventually need a will. How about right now? Trust Will makes creating your will easy, like while you're lounging on the couch easy. Trust Will is designed by attorneys but customized by you, and all documents are state-specific and secure. Find your plan at trustandwill.com and use offer code RADIO now for 10% off. That's trustandwill.com, offer code RADIO. Trust Will is an online estate planning service. Visit trustandwill.com for details.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for less. And for a limited time, new customers receive their second month free when they sign up and use promo code SECONDFREE by January 26th. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3, Philadelphia. Always live on the free Odyssey app. Live and local from Philadelphia. The Dawn Stensland Show on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT.
Every once in a while, we do an interview. We meet somebody on the airwaves here, Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. And so many of you will comment and say, that guy, that person is really a bright light. Love that guy. And that person, that guy who won his election, made national headlines, who I think is a good guy. He was a state representative here in Pennsylvania, and now Mr. McKenzie has gone to Washington. Want to welcome back in, after his swearing in, our Representative Ryan McKenzie. Good morning.
Dawn, good morning. So great to be back on the show.
It's great to have you here.
And with an introduction like that, I think I need to come on more often, Dawn.
Oh, yeah, we love it. No, really, you were one of the people that, pre-election, every time, we had such wonderful, just warm reaction of people just saying great things about you, glowing in just your authenticity, your honesty, and just, that really comes through. And so we just said, well, let's welcome him back. So can you take us through, first of all, what that was like? I had read that moments before you were sworn in, your wife and little 9-month-old baby, you're a new dad, and they were there. Can you take us through a little bit and share, some of your personal backstory, the behind the scenes of what that was like for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it is a tremendous honor, first of all, to serve in a position like this. And it really does hit you on a day like swearing in, the significance of serving in the U.S. House of Representatives, and then makes it even more special, as you mentioned, by having your family there. So both my wife and our 9-month-old son were able to join us. We had probably about 40 or 50 people that came from the greater Lehigh Valley area and throughout Pennsylvania down for the day. And so just a really awesome opportunity to be able to share with so many people that I care about and from our local community. And we're going to be doing another event in district this Friday with a lot more people who weren't able to join us on swearing in day itself. But really a great day, not only for me, but for the entire country, because I felt a lot of optimism on the day in the chamber, and people are excited to get to work.
Yeah, and so, when you think about getting to work and all of that, take me through what your week looks like. I mean, now as far as this Friday, you'll be back in Pennsylvania to celebrate. Is that what you mean? This Friday, or in DC?
Yeah. So what's going on is very quickly, right after we had swearing in on Friday, we immediately turned around and had a caucus-wide retreat. Our entire conference, Republican conference, got together off-site here in the Washington, D.C. area to talk about issues. And the major issue and way that we're going to be able to move our agenda is through something that we call reconciliation. And so that's a budgetary process whereby that legislation only requires 50 votes in the Senate. And so we can always, move things through the House, usually with a majority, if our members are in agreement. But then you run into the 60-vote majority required for a lot of policy legislation in the Senate. And so budget reconciliation allows you to do budgetary items and budget-related items with only 50 votes. And so I give you that background because it's really important for the Republican agenda of trying to make life more affordable for people here in our country, trying to secure our southern border and make our country safer again, and also, again, just reining in kind of the waste and overspending that we've seen for so many years on all of the woke policy items that the Democrats have been pushing. And so we can do that all through budget reconciliation, but it requires a lot of coordination. And so we had the Republican conference, people from the White House joined us as well, and Senator Thune, who's the Senate Majority Leader, all coming together. So that was just our Saturday alone, made a lot of progress that day. And now we've been back in session this week, so we certified President Trump's electoral win yesterday in the House in a joint session. Today we're having, regular order of business here with starting to take votes in the House on immigration-related issues. And all of this happens through Thursday of this week, and then Friday I'll travel back home with my family to be in district for the weekend and have that additional swearing-in celebration in district with people from our local community. So It's a jam-packed week, and this is what it should be because there's a lot of work for the American people that needs to get done.
We hear in the national media, Congressman Ryan McKenzie, now in the United States, obviously you were a state representative. We hear so much about the back and forth, the consternation. If you take us behind the scenes as far as the alliances trying to get things done, I'm just looking for something from you that is, beyond the headlines as far as what happens. Because, of course, the media, what does the media focus on? The raw meat, so-called, the nastiness or, the back and forth. What do you see? Because I think you're a positive energy kind of person headed into, you're not part of the swamp, obviously, and that's one of the things people like about you as a doer. But what do you see as you look at the opportunity within the House, within the United States, and being a member of Congress?
Yeah, so that's a great question, Dawn, and I think it's a really important thing for your listeners to understand what the mainstream media wants to portray and what's actually going on in Washington, D.C. So I saw and heard it already, regarding the certification of the Trump election yesterday. The media for days leading up to it, when I was reading the press, wanted to tell you that there was going to be chaos amongst the Republican caucus and that there was all this fighting that was going to happen, and who knows if Speaker Johnson was going to be reelected, and, you know, all of this negativity, I think, to try to create this story about chaos and dysfunction in Washington, D.C. And what I was seeing and experiencing was, are there differences of opinion in our caucus? Absolutely. But those things are getting hashed out in our conference meetings. And ultimately, you know, we come to a resolution, and we went to the floor. We elected Speaker Mike Johnson without any problems. And then also the certification went off without a hitch yesterday. So I think, again, I think the mainstream media wants to sell this narrative and this story, particularly about Republicans having chaos or dysfunction or disagreement that is going to derail our legislative agenda. And so far, I'm just not seeing that. I think that is a false narrative that they're putting out there. And I think our viewers need to be aware of that so that when they start to see and hear these stories, again, recognize that there are going to be ups and downs in negotiations and conversations. That absolutely occurs. But ultimately, we are more united than we are divided right now.
Yeah, I can see that. And I saw that, you know, on social media you put out with your wife and baby, you know, big day with the pictures, and with Speaker Johnson as well. But for you, you're the newbie, if you will. So do you have mentors? Do you have alliances already as far as your fellow freshmen or those individuals who are maybe in a senior leadership position who've welcomed you in?
Yeah, so look, I've been very fortunate. You already have a couple different groups going. You have your freshman and incoming class of members, particularly your Republican members. You end up doing a lot with those folks, so you get to know and build relationships with the class that you came in with. Separately, there is a Pennsylvania delegation. So we now have 10 congressional members across the state, and also Senator McCormick. And so we have a strong delegation that gets together and talks about issues and their importance for Pennsylvania, and that's very helpful. And then leadership, because I came through a very tough election, I have great relationships with our leadership team. They all came through the district to help support our campaign efforts. And now that's actually very helpful on the legislating and governing side, because I already have those connections and those relationships. So all of those things already exist. And then, you know, it's also fun to be at the national level as somebody who has followed politics for a long time myself at the state level, but also interested in federal government. You get to see and interact with a lot of these people who are leaders on major issues, and just go directly to them in conference with your questions or your thoughts. And everybody, to a T, has been so welcoming and receptive that it's very helpful to get up to speed, know exactly where we're going and what we need to do. And, you know, you have a great team around you in all those different areas that help you start advancing your agenda for the greater Lehigh Valley and for Pennsylvania and America at large.
And for you, Congressman Ryan McKenzie, obviously coming from Pennsylvania, a key state as far as energy. Trump has talked a lot about it. It was in the headlines again yesterday. So as far as that goes, is there, you know, I wanted to ask you if there's, you know, as far as committees and that sort of thing, but also your view on the topic that was making headlines yesterday. And that was simply all about energy policy. I don't know if we
Dawn,
Yep.
No, I got you. So let me tell you two quick things. First, when it comes to committee assignments, our leadership was very responsive. I laid out for them the fact that on the campaign trail, I talked about improving our economy, securing our border, and bringing back peace around the world. Those were the top three issues that I was talking about on the campaign front. And so they delivered. They got me onto the Education and Workforce Committee. Something that I'm passionate about is workforce training and improving the strength of American workers to help improve our economy. Then the second committee that I was appointed to is Homeland Security. And so that deals directly with securing the border and safer communities across the country. And finally, foreign affairs. And the Biden administration and the Democrats have made such a mess out of our global standing and what's going on around the world. We have a real opportunity to help clean that up and bring back that peace through American strength. So committee assignments, they delivered. So I'm very grateful for those opportunities where I'll be able to have a direct positive impact right away at the committee level.
Did we lose him? I apologize.
We might have. Let me check.
I apologize. It seems like we lost him. We were talking about the three committees. This is U.S. Representative and Congressman Ryan McKenzie. I apologize if we lost you. I think we lost him. But big news for him, and that's huge. Three committees: Homeland Security, Foreign Affairs, and Education. So, do we have you back? Sorry about that.
I'm sorry we lost you there, Dawn. So I don't know where I got cut off, but those three committees.
Congratulations.
Ed and Workforce, Homeland Security, Foreign Affairs, significant committees to advance our agenda, and they're going to help me make an immediate positive impact right away on those really significant issues around the economy, secure communities, and peace around the world through American strength. So that's all the great news for me personally on those committee assignments. But I will share a little story. I was on the House floor yesterday for the joint session, and I saw Vice President-elect J.D. Vance. He had come through Pennsylvania on a campaign stop, so I met him previously, and I congratulated him on his win and reminded him that I was from Pennsylvania. And he said, "Oh, you guys delivered in Pennsylvania." So he was very excited, for what was achieved politically there. But at the same time, everybody does recognize the importance of Pennsylvania, like you said, in that energy space, helping power large portions of the Northeast, actually, through the Marcellus Shale and natural gas that's produced in our state. And so really a significant opportunity if we can free up that American energy, unshackle some of the burden from permitting and overburden some regulations that are out there from our federal government. Do it in a safe, environmentally smart way, but at the same time make sure that American energy innovation and efficiency can actually be put into play in its fullest sense. And so we have a great opportunity there, and that's going to be part of our budget reconciliation process that we go through as well, is that energy reform and really focusing on American energy independence.
Well, congratulations. 3 committees and even a high five, basically, a proverbial high five from the Veep, Vance. I know, Congressman, if you have a moment, just one more moment, our executive producer, Dan Borowski, who I've known for years, when he and his then girlfriend, now wife, Maisie, really wanted to get married much sooner than they did. One of the reasons they put that off was to save up and pay off her student loans. So I know Dan kind of lit up when you had said that you were on the education committee. I mean, on so many levels, education in America needs reform, but you had a question.
Yeah,
right?
And it's exciting because I want to put it out there. I really like what Congressman McKenzie has been saying ever since the election. And being a young guy that you are with a young family, I think you recognize that there is a true issue here with student loan debt for the youngest generation trying to get going. And now that you're sitting on Committee on Education and the Workforce, being a Republican, the traditional conservative stance is to essentially target students and say they're in the wrong for taking out these predatory loans and, they should be held accountable. I'm just curious, what stance is Congressman Ryan McKenzie going to approach the whole student loan debate with when that inevitably gets going again? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so 2 things. Great question, Dan, and I appreciate it. As somebody, like you pointed out, with a young family, I mean, I and my cohort of friends and people that I've grown up with have experienced the same struggles that you're talking about in how unaffordable life can be right here in America. And so it's not just student loans. It's buying a house. It's the cost of energy. It's the cost of food, gas, all this stuff. So we have to work on this from a holistic point of view, working in all different areas. And we're going to be doing that this session. Now, particularly when it comes to education and workforce, we do need to put more of the onus back on these institutions who are, in some cases, grossly overcharging for the educational opportunity that they're providing to students, because the return on investment for some cases is just really not there. But they are, selling this and preying on the hopes and dreams of American families that the only way forward is a path through higher education. And that's simply not true. I mean, we know that there are some opportunities that are out there for people today that you can make great career sustaining wages by going to a career and technical school and incurring no financial debt. Now, that's not the path for everybody, but that opportunity for far too long was shut off and closed out for people because they said, well, everybody needs to go to college. And that's a fallacy. We know that college and higher education is important for some professions, but not for all professions. So we need to stop that pipeline that higher education has tried to say is the only path to success in our country. And we need to actually put more of the responsibility on them, saying, okay, if you are going to be accepting students, what are you going to actually be doing to ensure that they are career ready and that they're going to be getting into fields where they're going to be making money that they can actually pay off this student debt? And that none of that responsibility or accountability is placed on the schools right now. And so we do need to actually shift that focus and prioritization, because that is actually a much better approach than what we have right now.
It seems like there's been complete ignorance towards the role that big university has played in this situation we're seeing, and to hear a committee person say something like you just said is very refreshing. So thank you, Congressman. I appreciate that.
Well, you've been so gracious with your time. Thank you so much.
Oh, no, thank you, Dawn. I always love being on. And look, Dawn, as much as you love having me on, I got to tell you, I get that same response and warm response from your listeners who are actually tuning in, and then they reach out to me and they say, so great to hear you on the show. In fact, I just had a listener the other day or just recently say to me, that when they were listening to your show, their husband would be across the house and they would say, hey, Ryan's coming on, get over here, we got to listen. So people really, appreciate what you do for your listeners, and I love being a guest. So happy to come on anytime and look forward to getting back on and talking with you as we go through Congress and give you more updates.
Well, you're family now. Thank you so much. We appreciate you for sure, and we enjoy taking the victory lap with you as well. Congressman Ryan McKenzie.
You got it. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Just really that common sense conservative that is so needed and craved, right, by all of us. And I think that's what he's all about. But great questions, Dan. I think you.
Yeah, and it's one of those many issues that I think conservatives can do a better job at approaching in the sense of winning voters. Because I think you look at a lot of young people who do see a realistic hurdle in front of them because of the student loans that they or their significant others took out, and and he had a great angle on it. I got to say, and it's not just student loans; it's mortgages, it's housing prices. It's very hard for younger generations to get their lives going right now, and I think conservatives, especially young conservatives, Republicans, can do a great job in securing a young vote if they actually embrace that there are problems here and offered legitimate solutions to those problems rather than just erasing debt as the Democrats want to do.
Yeah, that's never the answer. So two different things I see. Like for Larry and I, we the pressure's on us. That's why I always say I'll be 100 years old. I'll won't be drinking the wine, but I'll be 100 years old with a third job. You know what I mean? Because I feel like we've.
But that's because you feel the responsibility to pay for your kids' education, right?
And with the older two, we put through college, and you got weddings and helping them buy their first home. And so whether you're Generation X, whatever your generation, then I just think it puts pressure on the whole family, whatever that looks like, to come together and try to figure things out. But yeah, to your point, as far as the student loans, I will say this, that, my comment about the education is that we also have to do a better job of making people, and I tell my own kids this, I'm like, truthfully, depending on what you're going into, okay, it does depend. But the truth of the matter is, when I went to J school, I went to the University of Minnesota, Minneapolis, the Hubbard School of Journalism. It was so important, and to have a high GPA and all that good stuff. Nobody asked me what my GPA was.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
Thankfully, nobody asked me either.
But I think a lot of people feel pressured. They have to go to such and such college. You don't. If you look at right now, state, Pennsylvania, like whether it's not UPenn, but whether it's Penn State is the best deal ever. I mean, some of our in-state tuitions are fantastic. And so I will say that for people who feel you have to go out of state or you have to go to these expensive private schools, no, you don't. You're going to get a great education. And quite frankly, even some of like Montgomery County Community College is amazing.
And a lot of times you can do 2 years at a community college, transfer those credits, and have a heck of a discounted, bachelor's degree from a big university.
But I also think a part of this is, I'll say this, 855-839-1210. Number one, and I remember back in the day, Pat Croce used to talk about this. For students who maybe learn differently or are differently abled, whatever that looks like, you're a hands-on person, but you might not make the straight A's. It's ridiculous to me that you're not allowed to have an internship unless you have an A average or whatever that average, I think it's a 3.4 GPA. Because if somebody has, let's say they have a 3.0, but they're a hands-on person, that internship is their pathway to a job. So I think some of those restrictions are ridiculous, and we have to think about that as far as hands-on learning. And then the other piece of it, too, is these internships that they have to be paid. We've seen a decrease in internships because of that Supreme Court ruling that happened. I think that's also a problem. We need to allow more hands-on, figure out how to incentivize.
Wait, there's a Supreme Court ruling you have to pay interns?
You didn't know that?
No.
Yeah.
I was an unpaid intern. The Stern Show, yeah. I would go all the way up, drive up there, front the cost myself. Yeah.
You probably, I'll have to look at the date, but you probably predated it then.
Yeah, no, I think I did.
So, but now it was a SCOTUS ruling that, and I think part of it was unions and so on and so forth would say, wait a minute, these people are doing our jobs.
Yeah.
But if you're earning credit, there's a value to it, and it should be considered within workplaces as like
credit,
a public.
But experience and relationships.
Yes.
That's how I kind of account it myself. It was expensive. It was hard. I would go Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I'd show up for the Stern Show at 5:30 a.m. and I'd stay through Scotty Farrell's show all the way until like 1 a.m. So 3 days a week, I was essentially doing the entire, like a 24-hour shift. And then those other days, I was working at a fish market so I could afford to do the internship because I knew that internship was what was going to set the stage for my career to come, and it truly has. I mean, there's a lot of people that I've met through that Stern internship, and I was actually an education major pursuing teaching before I took that internship. Yeah. Completely changed my life.
So why did you do that? You just thought it was like cool to
I did student teaching, and I recognized that parents either care too much or don't care at all, and it was incredibly frustrating. And I didn't know if I can navigate that. And as we see now, it seems that has really exploded into a situation for teachers. And I do feel like I, avoided something there by pursuing this career. But now as we see what's happening to, media, it's a different story.
Yeah, I think I want to say it was around 2013. I'm trying to remember. I'll look it up for you, but and I think it was part of a Fox group that it went all the way to the Supreme Court. But you have to pay interns now. And so even though they're getting credit. So that really was a blow to internship programs. You see less and less of them.
We got Lou on the phone, who I really like what he did because his daughter went a very different route than the standard. And I wonder how that's happened. Lou in Chichester, Dawn.
Hey, Lou.
Hello, Dawn. Lou Purdy. I've talked to you before during the McCormick thing. I was getting harassed, a plumber over in Aston. And I was listening to Dan ask Congressman McKenzie about the situation with the school loans and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. My daughter, she wound up getting a scholarship for ROTC out of Drexel University through the Army. So I was a single father, raised my daughter, and she was in the plumbing trade with me since she was 4 years old. I would take her out on jobs and do inspections. I used to be a local inspector in my town. So she would go out and do inspections with me. By the time she was 6 years old, my daughter knew a lot of the tools that we worked with every day. So when it came time when she graduated from high school, she had this great opportunity from the Army, and I was a Navy veteran, and she had this Army situation where she could do ROTC 6 years to become a nurse and then 6 years for the Army out of Drexel University. She says, Dad, I really like to do the Army, but you know what? I really love doing plumbing, and I think I want to go to the plumbing school. And it was the same plumbing school that all my employees go to, and I went to over 30-some-odd years ago. Well, my daughter was in the class, and not only did she go to the plumbing class, she did 4 years in plumbing. She graduated second in her class in the plumbing, and then she also did the HVAC class. And she graduated the number one in her HVAC class out of Philadelphia Suburban Plumbing Apprenticeship Program. She's done a fabulous job. She works for me. She works for me part-time now, and now she's working full-time at Longwood Gardens as the master plumber up there. She just recently got her master plumber's license at 25 years old.
Wait, so is she running all those pipes for like watering the flowers and all? Is that what the plumber does for Longwood Gardens?
Huge gig.
Yes.
Oh, that's crazy. That's
yeah,
cool.
She does all the plumbing in there, the bathroom and all that. My father, we have a history there. My father, when he was alive, he worked for the Milani brothers out of Crescent Ironworkers in Southwest Philly, and my father was the head guy up there who did all the welding for the atrium. And I don't know if you guys ever been to Longwood Gardens, but a lot of that work there. Yeah, my father was the head guy who did all the welding and the design of it and put it all together. He was the head, so my father did a lot, and he was a big influence on my daughter. My dad was an immigrant from Italy when he got here in 1957, and so we have history at Longwood Gardens, and now they have moved her up the ladder, so to speak, and now that she's getting her master's license in the state of Delaware. And also I said, well, honey, you know what you got to do is you got to get your plumbing license, master's license out of the city of Philadelphia. I understand that you have your master's license out of Delco, but you know what? Dad's got the master's license out of Philly, and if you could do it before I did it, and I did it at 31 years old after I graduated from that school in my military service. So next year she is set up, or this year she's set up to go ahead and do her Philadelphia master's license and her license out of Delaware also. But I just wanted to, your point, Dan, was really good. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, wonderful. Well, I'm glad you're doing so well. Proud dad for sure. Yeah, thanks for calling, Lou.
Thanks a lot, Dawn. Always good talking to you. And hey, McCormick and Trump are there, and we're looking forward to January 20th. We're going to head on down, and my brother lives outside the city down there, and we're looking forward to seeing a bunch of Patriots there.
Nice. I know. I can't wait. Can't wait. Thanks, Lou. Yeah, thank God.
Sounds good. Well, everybody have a good New Year. Thanks, Dawn. Thanks, Dan.
Thank you, sir.
What a great guy.
Nice compliments, sir.
When we talk about, medical debt, there's just this morning, there are new advances within, what credit bureaus can and cannot do and report and hold against you as far as medical debt on your credit report. So I'll give you that latest from this morning and so much more. This is The Dawn Show at Dawn Stensland on X, 855-839-1210. Be right back.
An Arctic air mass will remain in place for the next several days. It'll be partly sunny and windy. Watch out for some blowing and drifting of snow. High up around 33, but wind chill values down into the single digits. It stays windy tonight, mostly clear, low 22 for the city, but feeling colder with the wind. And for Wednesday, partly sunny, still very cold, with a high 33.
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. Did you know the IRS has programs specifically designed to help people struggling with tax debt? Powerful tax assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution firm, A-rated by the Better Business Bureau. Their award-winning team of tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. One call to Optima can start the process, helping to end your worries about wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other IRS actions. Make sure you're getting the best options to solve your tax problems. Call the experts at Optima today for a free confidential consultation.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-511-3535. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-511-3535. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-511-3535. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-511-3535. 800-511-3535 or biglou.com.
Attention Medicaid patients.
If you're on Medicaid, how would you like if your caretaker was your daughter, your son, your grandchild, or your close friend? If you're on Medicaid, Freedom Care allows you to choose who provides your care, and that caregiver will get paid instantly after their shift. Yes, your caregiver will get paid instantly, and it's 100% free to you if you are on Medicaid. Call 267-692-3782 and ask Freedom Care how to get started with care today. No more worrying about getting care from an aide at an agency. Freedom Care helps you choose who you want to take care of you, and that person gets paid. Call Freedom Care at 267-692-3782, 267-692-3782 to get started today. You get a caregiver you know and trust, and they get paid instantly after their shift, and it's free to you. Start now by calling 267-692-3782, 267-692-3782, or go to freedomcare.com.
Freedom Care, we're here for you.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy and founder of Wesley Financial Group, and I want to set the record straight. I am not an attorney. I've never wanted to be an attorney. And the truth is, I really don't even like attorneys. If I sound like an attorney or if I look like an attorney, I'll apologize. But what I've learned in my 15 years in the timeshare cancellation business is you don't need to be an attorney to get folks out of their timeshare. At Wesley, we've helped over 40,000 families cancel their timeshare without me being an attorney. And I want to share with you how we do it. Just give my office a call, and you will not talk to an attorney. And I guarantee if we take you as a client, we'll get you out of your timeshare, or you'll pay nothing.
Call now for your free timeshare exit info kit. 800-656-1551. That's 800-656-1551. 800-656-1551.
Hi, I'm Mike Venaria Jr. with Prosperity Private Wealth. Financial planning can be overwhelming regardless of market conditions. I specialize in retirement and legacy planning and tax minimization strategies. Protect your family and future generations without sacrificing our shared principles of hard work and American independence. Take control of your financial future. Call me, Mike Venaria Jr. at 856-252-0107.
Securities through Sanctuary Securities, Inc., member FINRA SIPC, advisory services through Sanctuary Advisors, LLC, and SEC registered investment advisor.
Hey girl, it's your new night guy, Jimmy Fallon in the house from 7 to 10 p.m. on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT and free on the Odyssey app.
So Don Jr. going to Greenland. What's up with Greenland? President-elect Trump ramping up his calls for the U.S. to take ownership of Greenland. And speaking at a news conference just moments ago, he's in Mar-a-Lago today. Let's listen in.
Since the election, as you know, a lot of positive things have happened. We are inheriting a difficult situation from the outgoing administration, and they're trying everything they can to make it more difficult. Inflation is continuing to rage, and interest rates are far too high. And I've been disappointed to see the Biden administration's attempt to block the reforms of the American people and that they voted for. We had a landslide election. We won every swing state. We won the popular vote by millions and millions of people. Nobody even knows how many people, millions. And they're still counting in some areas. You know, they're still counting the vote in some areas. Can you believe this? What a place. What a horrible place. One of the things we're going to do is we've got to fix the election so that we get honest counts and they get done by 10 o'clock in the evening or something thereabouts. They have places where they're still counting votes. President Biden's actions yesterday on offshore drilling, banning offshore drilling, will not stand. I will reverse it immediately. It'll be done immediately. And we will drill, baby, drill. And we're going to be drilling in a lot of other locations. And the energy costs are going to come way down. They'll be brought down to a very low level. And that's going to bring everything else down. That's what caused it to go up, along with the ridiculous spending on the Green New scam. All this money, trillions of dollars. It's like throwing it right out the window, what they're doing. And they're trying to spend so much now. They're just taking money and giving it to anybody that wants it for any project at all, if it's certified under the Green New scam. And they don't work, and it's too expensive. And, they told me that we're going to do everything possible to make this transition to the new administration very smooth. It's not smooth because they're doing that. They're playing with the courts, as you know. They've been playing with the courts for 4 years, probably got me more votes because I got the highest number of votes ever gotten. True. By a Republican, by far, actually, by a lot. And, we had a great election, so I guess it didn't work. But even to this day, they're playing with the courts. They have their friendly judges that like to try and make everybody happy on the Democrat side. It's called lawfare. It's called weaponization of justice, and it's happened at a level nobody's ever seen before. So many. I defeated deranged Jack Smith. He's a deranged individual. I guess he's on his way back to The Hague. And we won those cases. Those were the biggest ones. And the press made such a big deal out of them, but we did nothing wrong. We did nothing wrong on anything. And the people saw that. When they vote when a Republican, it's not easy for a Republican. When the Republican wins the popular vote by millions and wins all 7 of the swing states, people said, well, he could win 4. We won all 7, and we won them by a lot. That tells you we won. And they've been watching this injustice. I call it the Injustice Department. What they've done is so bad. The whole world has watched that. And it took work, but it got me a lot of votes because when explained, we have a judge in New York who's a very crooked judge. I'm under a gag order. I can't even talk about aspects of the case that are the most vital aspects. I'm under a gag. Do you know that I'm the president-elect of the United States of America? I'm a former very successful president. We had the greatest economy in the history of our country. We had borders that were sealed and beautiful. Everything was good. We had no wars. We defeated ISIS. We had no wars. Now I'm going into a world that's burning with Russia and Ukraine, with Israel. You took a look at that attack on October 7th, the attack on Israel, with the horrible way they got out. Not the fact that they got out. I would have been out before them. But we would have been out of Afghanistan with dignity and strength as opposed to looking like a bunch of fools with 13 dead and many, many badly, horrifically injured. Nobody ever talks about them. No arms, no legs. Nobody ever talks about them. The way they got out was outrageous, leaving billions of dollars of brand new military equipment that I bought in the hands of the Afghans and specifically the Taliban. It's the group. And we were doing very well. We would have been out. We would have been respected. I think it's one of the reasons it was so badly handled, that withdrawal where people are jumping onto airplanes, falling off the sides of airplanes when they're 3,000 feet in the air. And nobody's ever seen anything like that, the worst. And because of that, I think Russia went and attacked Ukraine. When they saw that, they said, these guys are incompetent. They don't know what they're doing. But we know what we're doing now. And that's going to all end. And we have a great military. I defeated ISIS, as you know. We were in no wars. I just finished a couple. And we got also our soldiers guarding Syria and Turkey. We're in the middle. We had 5,000 soldiers there. Would have been gobbled up with two armies. We had one army, 300,000. We had another one, 500,000 or 600,000, getting ready. We had 5,000 people in the middle. I said to a general, how do 5,000 people do in that case? And the general just looked at me and said, not well, sir, not well. And I took him out. And you know what happened? Nothing. I got criticized. I saved 5,000 lives, actually. And we did a great job, and we're going to do an even better job because now we have a tremendous amount of experience. We have people that I can rely on. But the 625 million acres, people can't realize, that's like the whole ocean. Take an acre. You know, an acre, you have a house on a half an acre, on a quarter of an acre, or an acre. If you have an acre, you have a big deal. Now you multiply that by 625 million acres. It's like, feels like the whole ocean. And that's our strength, you know? People can say we manufacture, we don't manufacture. The thing we have oil and gas more than anybody in the world. We're going to have more of it, too. But they took away 625 million acres of offshore drilling. Nobody else does that. And they think they have it, but we'll put it back. I'm going to put it back on day one. I'm going to have it revoked on day one. We'll go immediately if we need to. I don't think we should have to go to the courts, but if we do have to go to the courts, you know, they try to be sneaky. They go in and they sign. Remember, this is a man that said he wants the transition to be smooth. Well, you don't do the kind of things. You don't have a judge working real hard to try and embarrass you, because I did nothing wrong. By the way, I did nothing, absolutely nothing wrong. If I did something wrong, I wouldn't be standing here right now because I've won all these cases. Nobody's ever won so many cases as I have against the Justice Department. I mean, Jack Smith had cases all over the place. People were being subpoenaed. Lives were being ruined. They were spending everything they had, money. We were helping them out. We had to. They were subpoenaing people that had no idea what they were even talking about. That's a sick group of people. And it was all to influence the election. It was all a fight against a political opponent. We've never had that in this country. We have had that in certain countries. We've had that in third-tier countries. We've had that in banana republics, but we've never had that in a place like the United States. I don't even know if it's been on a small level. I'm sure it has been on a small level, but this was the largest level ever. They brought this moron out of The Hague. He's a mean guy. He's a mean, nasty guy. His picture was perfect. Because you look at his picture, you say, that's a bad guy with his robe, his purple robe. And he executes people. He shouldn't be allowed to execute people because he'll execute everybody. He's a nut job. But we won all of those cases with him. And, I mean, I don't know the judge in Florida, but we had a brilliant judge in Florida, saw right through it. And we won the case. She was a brilliant judge with great courage. You know, the left, as we call them, the radical left, they have a way, they play the ref, and they play it very hard. They play the ref. They go and say horrible things about judges and prosecutors. And some judges and prosecutors say, look, the only way I'm going to get these people off my back is to give victory to them. They're playing the ref. I think it's illegal what they do. It's almost like talking. It's worse than talking to a judge. But the judge in Florida, Judge Cannon, was brilliant and tough, and she didn't stand for it. And I don't know her. And never met her until the case, and I don't believe I said even one word to her. But she was very, very strong and very, very brilliant. And her opinion was so brilliant that they dropped their appeal. They couldn't beat the appeal. So that's what we're up against. So they say we're going to have a smooth transition. All they do is talk. It's all talk. Everything they do is talk. We're going to have a smooth transition. And then they take 625 million acres and they essentially landmark it so you can't ever drill there again. Well, we're going to be drilling soon. We're going to be opening up Anwar. We're going to be doing all sorts of things that nobody ever thought was even possible. But remember and just to get off the subject, because I couldn't believe it when I heard it yesterday. I couldn't believe the size of it. I mean, you put down a map and put this up. It's just massive. And remember that that's worth probably, I mean, I've had estimates $40 to $50 trillion. That's more than our national debt. Essentially, he's thrown it away. He's taken $50 trillion. So if we owe $35 trillion, he's taken $50 trillion of value and thrown it right out the window. We can't do that. Nobody can do that. One other thing he did yesterday, which was in many ways worse. It's hard to believe it can be worse. He wants all gas heaters out of your homes and apartments. He wants them to be replaced by essentially electric heaters. I don't know what it is with electric. This guy loves electric. We're going to be ending the electric car mandate quickly, by the way. This guy loves electric. And we don't have enough electricity. And then we have AI where we need more. And he wants everybody to have an electric heater instead of a gas heater. Gas heater is much less expensive. The heat is much better. It's a much better heat. As the expression goes, you don't itch. Does anybody have a heater where you go and you're scratching? And that's what they want you to have. They don't want you to have gas where you don't have the problems of the electric. And the source is plentiful. They're much cheaper to operate. They're much better. They work much better. They look much better. 60% of homes and apartments have gas heaters. He wants them all removed quickly. These people are crazy. There's something wrong with them. They also want to go back, and they have already started that, to when you buy a faucet, no water comes out because they want to preserve. Even in areas that have so much water, you don't know what to do. It's called rain. Comes down from heaven. And they want to do no water comes out of the shower. It goes drip, drip, drip. So what happens? You're in the shower 10 times as long, you know. No water comes out of the faucet. You want to wash your hands.
It's a low water pressure.
Go back to even stronger than what they have right now. As you know, I ended that policy. You can have all the water you want. Makes no difference. It comes weird, especially in certain areas. We have so much water, we don't know what to do with it.
We'll continue on with President-elect Donald J. Trump holding his first major news conference. As you're hearing, we're taking it live today as he's speaking from Mar-a-Lago. We'll be right back.
Attention small business owners needing financing. Swish Funding is providing funds for expansion, inventory, increased overhead, even slow cash flow to small businesses all over America with affordable funding as soon as one business day. And we're ready to help with funding from $10,000 to $2 million. If you've been in business for 1 year or more with a monthly income of at least $25,000, you can get the affordable funding you need with no collateral. Go to swishfunding.com today. That's swishfunding.com.
You know, as they say, one person's personal information is another person's treasure.
Exactly. That's why I use NordVPN every time I surf the web. Features like Threat Protection Pro's safeguard devices from phishing websites and disable intrusive ads and trackers. Just check NordVPN.com, grab the deal, and see for yourself. NordVPN. Cybersecurity built for every day.
For some jobs around the house, it's okay to do it yourself. For others, not so much. Like your water heater. Replacing a water heater should only be done by a plumbing professional who can provide a safe installation for you and your family. For a long-lasting, reliable water heater, ask your pro about Bradford White. How you heat your water matters, and Bradford White water heaters are built to be the best for years of dependable service. To learn more and find an installation pro near you, visit BradfordWhite.com.
Seems everyone has an opinion on where the stock market is going, but where should you be going? Find out with Joe Yakovich on The Heart of Your Money, Sundays at 9 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
This is Dr. Marianne Ritchie. Tune in to Your Radio Doctor every Saturday afternoon at 5 here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT for the latest healthcare news and information, because your health is your wealth. That's Your Radio Doctor, Saturdays at 5.
There's a reason that potato chips don't come in a clear bag.
There's only 8 chips in this bag.
That's why. It's only about 2/3 full. The rest is air. It's a lot like opening up your 401k at retirement. You get about 2/3 of it, and the rest goes to Uncle Sam. Jim Cipriotti at the Retire Ready Financial Group can help. His tax mapping process can help forecast what your tax bill will be in the future, and that way you can build a strategy now to potentially decrease your tax bill in retirement. In other words, more for you and less for Uncle Sam. Call today for your complimentary retirement tax mapping report, 610-894-7415. That's 610-894-7415. Or find them online at retirereadyfg.com and get Uncle Sam's greedy hands out of your retirement.
Hey, you've had enough.
With a complimentary tax mapping report from Jim Cipriotti. Investment advisory services offered through Retire Ready Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through James V. Cipriotti, Retire Ready Financial Group, LLC, NPN number 2083768.
When you need to know, depend on KYW News Radio 1039 FM.
The snow on the ground isn't going anywhere. Temperatures are expected to stay below freezing the rest of the week. Dozens of schools in places that saw more accumulation have delayed openings today, and state legislatures from Philadelphia honor law enforcement who were injured or killed defending the U.S. Capitol on January 6th.
Get the latest anytime on KYW News Radio, now on Crystal Clear 103.9 FM.
You've never needed us more.
Follow Talk Radio 1210 on Instagram and Facebook at 1210 WPHT.
We'll impose new tariffs so that the products on our stores will once again be stamped with those beautiful words, made in the USA. And we are not treated well, as you know, by Canada. Canada is subsidized to the tune of about $200 billion a year, plus other things. They don't essentially have a military. They have a very small military. They rely on our military. It's all fine, but, you know, they got to pay for that. It's very unfair. I have so many great friends. One of them is the great one, Wayne Gretzky. I said, run for prime minister. You'll win in
of Canada.
It'll take 2 seconds, but he said, well, am I going to run for prime minister or governor? You tell me. I said, I don't know. Let's make it governor. I like it better. But no, something's going to have to be done. Same thing with Mexico. We have a massive deficit with Mexico, and we help Mexico a lot. They're essentially run by the cartels, and can't let that happen.
Never minces a word.
Mexico's really in trouble, a lot of trouble. Very dangerous place. And we're going to be announcing at a future date pretty soon. We're going to change, because we do most of the work there and it's ours. We're going to be changing, sort of the opposite of Biden, where he's closing everything up, essentially getting rid of $50 to $60 trillion worth of assets. We're going to be changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America.
I love it.
Which has a beautiful ring that covers a lot of territory. The Gulf of America. What a beautiful name. And it's appropriate.
I do like it.
It's appropriate.
He's just riffing. And everything he says is smart and thoughtful. I love President-elect Trump. I can't wait for the 20th.
Why isn't it the Gulf of America? Like, we
I know.
live in North America. It's not even a USA thing, but why isn't it the Gulf of America? Yeah.
Right. I mean, everything he says, I just love. And I love that we're live and local, because I know there's so much that he's continuing to say, Dan.
Yeah, during the break, he spoke about the record stock market, how his election will have great implications on the economy. Delved into the Panama Canal a little bit. Explained how
ripping them.
Yeah,
it was a bad deal for America,
and the way that China really gets benefited from the Panama Canal, where they shouldn't. And now sticking on economy a little bit before taking questions.
Yeah, I love it. Talks about the golden age, and that's really what this is about. So. Can't wait until he's sworn in, President-elect Trump, a major news conference. I looked up, even CNN has been taking this the entire time. I'm thankful for that. But everything he says, common sense, where he's talking about your own water, everything that affects you in your life. And I know you agree with me that, you love this President-elect. Can't wait till Trump gets in their folds. He's already working for us, right? And you know who else is working for you is our own Dom Giordano, who's standing by with a great Dom show just ahead.
Well,
hey,
thanks, Dawn. Yeah, we'll talk about some of this stuff. I already see that as a side question. What else should be renamed? Let's get it to Trump. God knows what'll happen. Jeff Van Drew stops by. And Levittown, the American dream, J.D. Mullane, Dawn, carrying this. A home just sold for $720,000 there. Thank you, Joe Biden.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. The Dom Show is coming up next. We have Don Jr. has landed in Greenland. I don't know, maybe Greenland will be Trump land or something before it's all over.
America land.
America land. It's the Dawn Show. Stay tuned for a great Dom Giordano show.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope.